right, Betting Weekly, Tennis Live, your favorite tennis gambling show all on the Bet Rivers Network. We're coming to you from a Wednesday, November 5th. Mitch, Michals, Tim Dennis. If you haven't already, download that Bet Rivers app. Make all your bets. We've got tennis, and we've got the final push of the season coming to you live. We've got ATP matches in Athens and Metz going on, the final tournaments of the year in the regular season for the men, and the women's finals in Saudi Arabia. We have a winner-take-all, winner-go-home match in the third set between Iga Swiatek and Amanda Anisimova, just getting going. So a lot of juicy stuff on the docket. Joining me now, as always, one of my favorite guests here on this one, Tim Dennis. Tim, always a pleasure. Last time we talked, you weren't at your comfortable residence, so nice you're back home.
Yeah, nice to make the journey home today. So yeah, not stuck on the motorway in some services. So yeah, more comfortable surroundings today. But yeah, thank you for that very kind introduction, Mitch. I've currently got the Anisimova match on my screen, but also Bublik in play. He's just lost serve at 5-all. So Sachko actually coming out to serve for the first set, which is going to be interesting. Musetti and Wawrinka going with serve early doors, and yeah, 3 really decent quality in play matches for us to get stuck into.
We couldn't have planned it any better, not just the women's match, which we'll get to, but the ATP finals implications on the men's side. Bublik is right now the second alternate if everyone plays, but there's some rumblings, obviously, with Djokovic. We don't even know Sasha Zverev's health. We hope he's okay, but Bublik still has a chance. He'll be in Turin in some shape or form, but what shape that is, we'll have to see. Also, Musetti, winner go home for him. He has to win the tournament or Felix gets that spot. So a lot riding. Stan Wawrinka, the 3-time slam champ, future Hall of Famer, is in his way. Well, let's start with the women's match right now. Boy, Iga Swiatek, double break point against Amanda Anisimova, 15-40. Now, we know one break, Tim, doesn't determine how this match goes, especially women's tennis matches. But for Iga, this is starting to look like a pattern of, win the first set, and then the last 2 haven't gone her way in this tournament. Still time, but Anisimova really turned that match around, played a tight first set, but how she's been thumping the ball, how she's been just redirecting a lot of Iga's one-way traffic has been remarkable.
Yeah, been very impressive, Mo. We spoke about this match on the show yesterday, and I think for me, looking at the way the game's sort of unfolding here, I think Anisimova is probably just enjoying the conditions a little bit more than Iga. We obviously know Iga's had a reasonable season as far as the quick courts go, better than in previous years, but I do just believe these sort of indoor, obviously no wind, fast conditions, they're probably just playing into Anisimova's hands. That's slightly a bit more, and yeah, she saved 1 break point there. Still got 1 more to come though, and an opportunity for Anisimova here. I think before that she broke serve at the end of the second set. That was the first break of serve in the whole match. I think 10 holds serve. 9 holds of serve, and then a break. And Anisimova yet to be broken so far. So that kind of tells you where this match has been going.
Yeah, it was so strange, right? Like how bad she looked against Rybakina in her first match, and then turning it around really from a set down against Keys, who did not play this morning. Alexandrova got the spot. So yeah, it's funny, right? Yesterday's daily double hits was just 1 leg though, but she got over 2 sets in over
just 1 leg. Yeah, we were a little bit cautious on the odds. Obviously, we went for Anisimova to win a set, which was quite heavy minus money, but obviously that cash. But then I think could have been a fairly obvious play in the if the match had been really known, it would have been Alexandrova. Just the under 2.5 sets looked sort of blatantly obvious there, whether it was Keys or Alexandrova, as it turned out. But yeah, just 1 leg, but at least it won anyway. And you fancy her to go on. She's got a 3rd break point here. You fancy her to perhaps go on and win the match. Certainly she can break here, but yeah, she saved another break point, 3 in a row. And Sachko has just won the first set against Bublik, so might just question where Bublik's head is at for a sort of indoor late season 250 with even if it will be as an alternate, he has an appearance at the Turin to get to perhaps.
What a story, Vitaliy Sachko, 28-year-old Ukrainian. I think it's been 5-6 years plus. I'm just guessing. I saw the stat. I don't remember it. Since a Ukrainian man has won a tour level match, it's been a drought, and he's just, putting in the time. The end of the year is huge. There's so much to play for. We take for granted. Even Rybakina's case, right? There's money to play for, but you get ranking points for winning. Did you know that, and I saw this today as well, Tim, the battles for just getting into the top 30, if you finish on the ATP side in the top 30 at the end of the year, you get entry into any 500 event you want for that mandatory requirement. So guy that stood out to me is Brandon Nakashima. He's 32 in the world right now, and this is his chance to really set himself up nicely in 2026.
Yeah, that's a big character dangle there, isn't it? Obviously, they've got these sort of 32, top 32 is obviously seeded for sort of
Mhm.
Grand Slams. And but that top 30, I actually didn't know that. And that's a
Mhm.
really interesting sort of motivation factor that certainly those players in and around that area will be looking at. Because when these guys
Mhm.
look at scheduling their next year, if they can get in there early and sort of bank those appearances of where they're going to be playing, that's really going to
Yeah.
stand them in good stead and a good mindset as where they want to be going forward. So, yeah, really important for them.
Well, Iga holds. She battles. Anisimova had a game like that in the second set. She held and then ended up getting the break and winning the set. So right now, Iga's back to favorite, love 15 on the point. So do you have any strategy for betting this live? Any advice you'd give to people right now that over under total games? We've already hit, what's this, the 26th game. So it's like 32 and a half, depending on if you like someone to win or if over in this set, Tim, or if there is a player that people out there like, when would be the time to go in on a bet on that player in this match?
Yeah, well, we've kind of maybe half missed the boat here with it being 2-all already in this set. But just looking at the match, I would have been looking at going. I mean, even over 9.5 games is minus 157, which
Mhm.
still looks at a fair price to me, considering this has been massively serve dominated.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, it's only 1-all in a game, sorry, rather
Yeah.
than 2-all. But so that still looks fair to me. I mean, like we said, she's had a couple of break points there that she wasn't able to take, but
Right.
Iga's now held 10 out of 11 times, and Anisimova's held every time she stepped up to the service line there. So I certainly would have been looking towards over games. I think that's minus 167 now as Anisimova goes 30-15 ahead. But probably, I think, yeah, both minus 108, Iga minus 110,
Mhm.
Anisimova. Perhaps that serving first Anisimova, because she was able to break late in that second set, that might stand her in good stead. And I would probably just be leaning towards her personally, with serving first.
Right.
And I think she's just enjoying the conditions a fraction more than Iga.
Seems like she is, and she's done well here, this region of the world. This is where it all started for Amanda. So we will keep ties on that one. Just want to also point out we got matches tomorrow. We just want to flash this. We'll get to it in a second, but we have a lot in the live window to get to. But some big matchups tomorrow. Still a lot to play for in that group that isn't as straightforward. So there's going to be some tiebreakers potentially in that one. But yeah, the other live window. I mean, we talked about Bublik, where he's at. Do you think? And I mean, Bublik's an interesting cat in a lot of ways, but it's still 2-1. Is it still worry that maybe he's not as motivated for this event, that he's not quite going to be digging deep, given the fact that he's got at least an alternate spot next week in Turin?
I mean, perhaps, yeah, we always sort of on Bublik's case a little
Mhm.
bit, and he probably drags that on himself a bit, really. But I think as far as this season goes, he's probably been as motivated as we've ever seen him, isn't he? He's sort of
Mhm.
been turning up at these 250s and the odd 500 event there here and there, and claiming them. He's had a brilliant season there on the clay, which he used to say was just not worth even bothering turning up on. But I mean, perhaps this week though, a 250 in Metz there,
Mhm.
like you say, with Turin. Obviously, he's going to be an alternate, but it's still
Yeah.
going to be an event he'd probably like to be there and
Yeah.
taking part. So yeah, I'm sure he does have one eye on that, and
Right.
you'd imagine this will be a reasonably serve-dominated second set again. But you struggle to say he's going to be fully motivated here. So I think
Mhm.
that was a bit of a worry getting on a heavy minus money before the game.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an angle in now, but I think you'd have to be pretty gay getting stuck into Bublik, I think.
Yeah.
But
Still
like the
minus.
great one there says, chasing the top 10 is a point well made too.
Yeah. Still minus 132 for that over under total games of 29 and a half. So maybe that's a play. Bublik, only lost the first set 7-5. It's not like he's tanking away this match. So you think if he
Absolutely, yeah.
wins the second, even if it's still up for grab in the third, he can maybe hit that point. I also think too, Tim, just the side note, it's funny. Sinner was, had that perfect record, that winning streak against outside the top 20 until Bublik beat him. I almost feel like we should just give Sinner that record back. Like Bublik's a top 20 guy. like it's almost like that match doesn't count as losing to an unknown.
Yeah, I think we can work well. Yes, knock that one off the script and give Sinner the benefit of the doubt there, because yeah, he's definitely in that top regions, isn't he?
We got break point for Stan against Musetti in the battle of the one-handed backhands as I'm following live on the Bet Rivers app. It's great. You also have the live match streams on here too, so it's a great place. And Stan gets the break, so he's up 4-3 in the first set, still plus 108 on the money line. I don't know, Tim. I mean, I'm a huge Stan fan, unbiasedly there. I want to get that out there, but he is a 40-year-old man, so you wonder too. Okay, first set is usually where you'd like to bet older veteran players. Even if he wins that set, though, the question is going to be: does he have enough to go to the finish line and win 2 out of 3?
Yeah, well, this is what he did the other day. We obviously, I think Sean and myself, and I think a few others were on stand with that first set bet against Van der Zandschulp, and he lost that, and then actually went on to win the match. And that's really been a pattern that Stan doesn't normally do. He normally, certainly in the late stages of his career, we've seen at that, like you say, 40 years old, winning the first set is imperative, and then you can actually, with your own eyes, you can see him tiring in the second, third sets. And I think Van der Zandschulp let him off the hook there. So I think for me, I think if Stan does go ahead and take this first set, which you're probably looking like the way, then that would be, I'd want to be getting with Musetti. Obviously, Musetti motivated, even though he has played a ton of tennis, he should be coming through if this goes on against Stan. I think Van der Zandschulp should have done massively in front on the service points one, return points one there too. But typical Botic, just let a game slip that he should have certainly won. And I don't think Musetti would be that kind. So it'll be interesting to see the market, whether it goes pretty much a pick 'em. If Stan does take this first set, I'd be definitely getting with Musetti.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Botic won a lot more points and the metrics, but that's tennis. It just doesn't work that way. The market, and that's why I love checking out Bet Rivers on the shows, the market flipped a little bit. So it was plus 108 right when that game ended. It's now plus 120. So I feel like money's coming in. You got some bettors that love this spot. Okay, Musetti's down a break, desperation time to come in. But Stan's tough. I mean, that's the thing with this matchup. It's the first match, too, for Musetti. We always wonder what the rust factor is going to be like. He's never, there hasn't been a pro tennis tournament on this court. So how is he adjusting to the situation? And how about the flip side? Will the nerves get to him too? Because he knows that a loss here essentially ends his season. So we shall see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I think Stan's probably pretty. I mean, Musetti's easy to love 15. He's at minus 190. But I think if Stan takes that first set, that's obviously going to come in, be a little bit bigger than that for sure. So I'd be looking to hope Stan holds on in the first set, and that's when I'll be trying to look to get with Musetti. I think he should be taking that if Stan takes his first set.
He's got breakpoint Iga in the 2-1 game. She's just fending him off right now. Let's see if Anisimova can break through, and she does. So Anisimova gets the break, moves to minus 480 on the money line. Now I feel like that could be value for Iga, right? I don't know if this is what are the chances you'd say this is the only break in this set? I feel like we could at least see one more.
Yeah, well, I mean, Iga hasn't created many chances in this match so far as breakpoints go. And Anisimova, she's yet to drop serve, whereas Iga's dropped serve twice now. But I mean, you wouldn't put it past her. But like I think we spoke a little bit earlier. If you did take a little bit of that, just sort of minus 108 Anisimova when it was a pick 'em, and that's minus 480, you're looking pretty happy with yourself. But if you wanted to have a little bit of a cover on Iga, you probably could. But it wouldn't surprise me if Anisimova carries on holding serve and actually breaks her again and takes this set perhaps fairly comfortably. And again, now she looks to be, like we said earlier, just enjoying the conditions a little bit more than Iga.
Yes, she certainly does. Well, the match is tomorrow. We mentioned it. We'll throw up the graphic now, but we have two group play matches that get to the semifinals, rather. It's not as straightforward as the other bracket where you had a player already in at this point. You have Sabalenka taking on Coco. There you see the money line there, and you see Paolini and Pegula. Paolini is already eliminated, but the other three, there could be a weird combination. We could get to tie breaks. If Sabalenka wins, it could be pretty straightforward in that sense. But if not, if Coco wins, then we get to a lot of weird combinations and trying to do math, which is always fun for us. But I guess starting with the top one, Pegula, should it, Tim, be straightforward against Paolini? We know Paolini plays for pride and obviously money, but do you expect this to be a straightforward win by the American favorite?
Yeah, I actually do. Yeah, and obviously we're a little bit short on matches tomorrow, so we're trying to find a daily double. It's a little bit tough, but yeah, I think we've got one each in these women's games, and we'll obviously start with Pegula in this top one. Obviously, Paolini, the only one of the four here with nothing to play for as far as going forward goes. But like you say, apart from money and a few points, but I don't think that's going to be high up on a list of factors here. But Pegula, she leads the head-to-head 4-1 and 3-1 on hard courts. Paolini's only victory came in their last meeting, actually, the Billie Jean King Cup. But in those last four meetings, Pegula actually leads the service points one and return points one total, so massive 116.75 to just 83.25 for Paolini. and I think she wins 66.5% of first serve points compared to just 47.5% for Paolini, and 55.25% of second serve points, could just 43% for Paolini. So I think with Paolini having little to pay for, and this being the first match on the two, and Pegula obviously she has to go and win this. Yeah, I thought minus 1.5 sets for Pegula at minus 108 was the way to go. I thought that was a pretty good way of getting with Pegula here.
Well, before we get to the other matchup there, Tim, I just want to say too, like it's really weird if Coco wins in straight sets, she's the odds on to be the top in the group depending on what happens. But if Coco wins in 3, that's going to be the scenario where we're going full tiebreak situation, given how everything goes, assuming Pegula wins. So this is kind of what I expect, right? Every time this tournament where you have situations where it's not as clean as the other group is. So that said, Sabalenka and Coco battling again. That price, and I'm going to flash it back up again, but that price is always fascinating because you just don't know what you're going to get on the Gauff side of things. You know you're going to get the compete level, but where is the serve going to be? Where is the forehand going to be? And the honest question too, Tim, is she going to do what she's done in the past and raise her level when she plays the very best in Sabalenka, which, say what you want about Coco's struggles, but she does get up for these matches against Sabalenka. And I think of all the top players, she can give her, if not the best, very close to the best fight.
Yeah, definitely. She actually leads the head-to-head 6-5 against Sabalenka. I think it's 4 each on the hard courts and 3 each in their last 6 matches. I think Gauff obviously beat Sabalenka on this court last year, 7-6, 6-3. I think over their past 6 matches, the service points won, return points won totals is 100.34 to Sabalenka compared to 99.6 for Gauff. So yeah, absolutely nothing in it. And I think 6 of those 11 matches in the head-to-head have gone the distance. So I thought plus 143 over 2.5 sets makes some appeal. Looking at those stats, I think they'll both have their moments, as we've spoken about. Sabalenka can obviously hit anyone off the court, but Gauff, she can have her time too, as well as having her moments where the forehand does go off along with the serve. So yeah, I think plus 143, about over 2.5 sets here with what is on the line. And I think if it does go to that 3 sets, it's going to be fascinating viewing, isn't it? As far as, especially if Pegula wins, figuring out who's where and who's going to get through and who's not. So this could be a fascinating match tomorrow.
Yeah. Like the over games, like the over 2.5 sets, I think it's going to be a battle. Sabalenka needed to dig deep, right, to beat Pegula down a break early in that 3rd set and then just rattling it off. So I think you find a way to bet the over and maybe back the underdog in some regard. Can Coco do it? Can she overcome? I would lean Sabalenka to win this match outright just because I don't think Coco's firing at all cylinders. She's still working through, obviously, the serve in certain situations. But if there's an opening, if Sabalenka's a little off and there's an opening, you know Coco will walk right through it. So it sounds like your prediction would be Sabalenka and Pegula, though, as the 2 semifinalists.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I think Sabalenka's, I was quite impressed with her yesterday to come through when she looked a little bit shaky there yesterday, and sort of Pegula was asking her some serious questions, wasn't she? And then she did find some real sort of stunning tennis, as she tends to do in the biggest moments there.
Right.
And Pegula, I mean, she's so tough to beat, isn't she? She doesn't make up many errors. I think I saw that second set. I think she made 6 unforced errors. She just gives you nothing. And a really likable player. But and Sabalenka's quality just came through that extra gear that she has sort of just showed there yesterday. And it's going to be fascinating to see not only like who wins, but who tops the group. Because I'd imagine topping the group is quite key for one of these, because
you avoid Rybakina.
Avoid Rybakina, exactly. So finishing second, obviously, is going to play Rybakina. So I think that's another key thing coming in. But I'm not sure anybody's going to know where we are.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. There's obviously, it's still just a break. It's 4-2 Anisimova. So, I mean, that's part of it too, right? The match says Anisimova wins. She's minus 670, but it is 1 break a serve. And we've seen leads fall in the past. But Sabalenka was the favorite coming into today for obvious reasons, given the fact that she's the #1 player in the world, clinched Giron, and her record this year, I think, is up to 13-4 versus the top 10. So she knows how to play and beat the very best. Yeah, so the potential matchups, Tim, before we move on to the ATP, would be you'd have Sabalenka taking on Anisimova potentially, and then Pegula Rybakina. That's pretty good semifinal matchups, and could be pretty interesting.
I imagine Sabalenka's probably got a little bit of revenge on her mind because obviously I think she said she let herself down in that French Open final. There'll be nothing like any windy conditions here to worry about tomorrow. So she'll probably, I imagine she's up for a bit of revenge tomorrow. But Gauff was, as we've seen, leading that head-to-head. She's going to have her moments in this match. I don't doubt that.
Can't wait to see what we have for the women's WTA finals as he gets up to love 30. So there you go. I mean, it's just the beauty of live betting, right? There's always an opportunity. Doesn't mean the matches are going to be there, but if you have a player you back and they come through, you're going to always have a chance, and we love to see it. Well, the men's side, we're going to peek in on the live line to Stan's about to serve for the set, and Bublik is at a deuce game trying to get a break on serve 2-1 there in Metz. But some matches to discuss. One of the ones in Athens we have is Sebastian Korda taking on Miomir Kecmanovic. Final event of the year for these two young players, youngish players who are trying to break through and really finish strong, which we mentioned. There you see the spread. There you see the money line and over-under and some set bets. So any thoughts, Tim, on this one? Do we think the American is overpriced at -225, or is this about what it should be?
I think he's a little bit short there. Obviously, he leads the head-to-head 2-1, winning the last two, but definitely still a few question marks, aren't there, surrounding Korda about fitness and getting all the way through to the end of a tournament and having the ability to go all the way to a final and winning it. We've seen his body break down sort of numerous times lately. And Kecmanovic, a player not one to sort of fully trust if it does go 3 sets. So, but a good trading match for me. I thought Kecmanovic plus 175 would be a bet I'd want to be taking and looking to trade that in play, because we do know he can get a little bit tight at the biggest moments in third sets. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I like SFN 9ER there. The starting off with Kecmanovic and probably trading for a little bit of a profit in play, because if it does get tight, he's not one to hugely rely on. But then on the other side of the net, you've got a guy who physically his body's broken down a bit lately. Yeah. So certainly question marks for probably both of them to answer.
I agree with that. We've seen Korda burn us, myself included, many times in this spot with a similar number. I would say, though, I would favor this matchup more if it was a little hotter. It's a little cool in Athens. I think Kecmanovic is a warrior and plays very well in the heat and the really hot conditions. But, you know, I think it's right. I think there's value there. So I would look at Kecmanovic for sure. One of the other players to look at in Greece is, we mentioned him, Brandon Nakashima. We got an all-American matchup, but Nakashima is playing for that top 30 spot. And Marcos Giron, who's done well this time of year as well. Pretty thin area in terms of what the market looks like. But do you have an American of preference in this matchup, Tim?
We sort of spoke about this very briefly when there wasn't much more in the market yesterday. I think that the match had just been pretty much made. And yeah, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts, Mitch, because obviously two Americans at the back end of the season on an indoor hard court at a lower level event. Which one of them do you think has the more motivation going forward? Do you think it's, like you said, Nakashima with that sort of top 30 carrot there dangled? It might be leaning towards him.
Yeah, I would agree. I just think looking at their history, the over games, I know it's a big number, but they've played 3-setters, I think, every time they've played. So I think styles make fights, and this could be a long fight. I think this is Giron. Both guys are in great shape. Both players play pretty smart, measured tennis. I would favor Nakashima, although I do think it should be a closer line. So I don't necessarily see value in it, but I think Nakashima edges this one out. I do. I think he's going to find it. Giron has been not quite as good recently. You know, he's had a couple tough losses. So I would think Nakashima locks in and wins a grueling 3-setter.
Yeah, perhaps maybe a tiebreak in the match might be an angle to go look towards, maybe over first games. I know, obviously, both pretty decent servers. Nakashima, obviously, not quite the best on return games. I think they played a tiebreak in their last head-to-head they played not long ago. So that would probably be a way. I'd agree with you. They're looking at over games, over first set games, and maybe even over 2.5 sets, something like that.
Could be one to look at as Anisimova holds just one game away, 5-2. Stan's got break point in the game as he's trying to serve out the set. Musetti has a break point opportunity, and Bublik and Sachko are on serve 2-all in that second set. Stan holds the break point, so he's just fighting along through. Other match to get to as we'll continue to poke along, but we have Metz action. Matteo Berrettini finishing up his year, trying to set himself up nicely in 2026. He gets Aleksandar Vukic, who upset Quarantine Mutet the other day in a very notable result for him. Vukic beating the talented Frenchman. Berrettini, though, Tim, huge favorite in this one. Game spread, though, just 3.5. So that just kind of shows you the sets he's been playing with the money line difference and then the set betting and over under as well. So, yeah, I mean, this could be one where Berrettini comfortable favorite, but that game spread being just 3.5 kind of tells me a tie break or a tight set or two could be in play.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, Vukic, he hasn't taken a set off Berrettini here, but I think in their last match, they were both two very close tiebreak sets, and you wouldn't shock you at all if this is the way. I think their previous head-to-head was only one breaker serve as well, 7-5, 7-6 in favour of Berrettini. So, yeah, 3.5 on the spread there, Vukic. That's certainly where I want to be getting involved. And a little bit like we spoke about with Korda, Berrettini just struggling fitness-wise. He doesn't look like a player who can play continuous matches that much anymore, does he? Or certainly not at this stage. I'm not saying he's not going to get back there again. He's still got time on his hands, but that body is certainly letting him down. And just you do wonder about him going all the way through sort of 4 or 5 matches in one tournament. So a little bit to be taken on trust there still, I think. So yeah, Vukic plus 3.5. I think that looks a very fair spread.
Yeah, it was oblique recently. I think he's had a lot going on. He's still, relatively young. I don't know. I think his health is a big thing. I also would be a little encouraged, though, if he's playing now. Because if there was anything wrong, I don't think there's a chance he would be playing and he'd just be looking ahead. So that probably makes you feel a little better. But, yeah
maybe he's sort of trying to build his way back into finishing tournaments and trying to obviously play enough tennis to get to semi-finals and finals to give his body a chance to sort of acclimatize to what it used to be.
Yeah. My advice for this match would probably be if you like Berrettini money line, it's a lot to give up. But if you have your own daily double or parlay you want to do, you can throw that in there. And maybe the over in first set games. I think it could just be a long drawn out first set and then just kind of assess where we are. But yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one as Iga 2 points away from being knocked out. This Musetti Stan game just rolling on. This might not be good in the long run for Stan, that it's just another long drawn out game, even if he wins this set, Tim. I think it's going to be a battle.
I think if better's here, I think certainly myself anyway, I'm looking for Stan to hold serve here and then get through, and then we can get with Musetti. That's the way I'm looking at it. So I'm just hoping he can get this game held and then take that set, and then Musetti can come out and hopefully take the match.
Well, we had on Game Set Bet, the coverage of the other matches, but any quick thoughts on Djokovic tomorrow? Anything? I mean, he's a huge favorite. He gets Nuno Borges, and it's already the quarterfinal, but you wonder, I mean, he beat Tabilo to finally notch the victory over him, and you wonder what the energy level is going to be like and what his plans are for next week if they factor into that.
Yeah, that's the big part of it, isn't it? I haven't actually looked at this match in much detail yet, but I did watch him last night, and it's not often you see Djokovic win a tiebreak set and sort of celebrate the way he did, the big fist bump in the air and almost a big roar to say, I'm Novak Djokovic and I finally won a set against Tabilo.
Yeah, he had to beat him once. I mean, that's what it comes down to. Like, he had to at least notch one victory over him.
Yeah, exactly. But then, like you say, well, how's he in his own head? How's he looking ahead here? Is he looking at playing at Turin, or is he putting all his eggs into this one basket? And none of us really know that, do we? Because he hasn't told anyone. So a little bit to be played on trust. And that there were moments there in that first set again yesterday, as we've seen many times in this year, of him sort of hunched over on his racket, looking down at his laces, looking physically not in the best of shape. So still a bit to be taken on trust there. I think we all know Djokovic is a little bit of a play actor when it comes to stuff like that. So
yes, he is.
But I think without knowing his motivation and his moves regarding Turin next week, just a game to be enjoying, I think.
We got final scores. Anisimova does it, and Stan wins the first set. So right on cue. Anisimova knocks Iga Swiatek out of the WTA finals. She'll get that second spot. So it's Rybakina 1, Anisimova 2 in that group. Wow, she does it. What a turnaround. What a 2025 season for Anisimova. Comeback, whatever you want to give her. Comeback player of the year, most improved, whatever. She can make a case for, depending on how this goes, the third best player in the world right now. It's just remarkable. And then, of course, Tim losing to Iga at Wimbledon the way she did, and then beating her the last 2 times.
Yeah, I think probably 3 of those accolades you can throw at number 3 in the world. Player of the year, biggest comeback of the year. Just, sensational tennis from her. and obviously a slam is going to be next on her radar. I think there was a few WTA sort of PR things, and I think she said Melbourne's one of her favourite cities in the world. So maybe she's got her eye on the Australian Open coming up. That would be a key for her. And the tennis we've seen her play, certainly in the last second half of the year, she has the ability to win slams now, doesn't she? And she has to be right, if not at the very top of the list, certainly in the top 3 or 4 of those players.
She's
certainly hardcourt slam. Anyway,
she's number 3 plus 550, and she was 17-1 before winning China. So there we go. Just crazy. Hope you got on when we were telling you here on Betting Weekly Tennis Live. So props to her. It's going to be shockingly, it's going to be another tall field of semifinalists, right? All the tall women are in the semis. So it's a power game going forward. And then Stan wins that set. Right now, what I'm seeing on Bet Rivers, it's -107. Stan -129 is for Musetti. So about what you expected?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think as we spoke, I think he was -122 as Stan served out of that set. So that's moved a little bit already. Perhaps maybe if you wanted to, he was obviously down 2 games already. So he's obviously going to have to cover another 2 with that spread at -1.5 at plus 104. But Stan's serving pretty well. Maybe just the money line's probably the safe way of playing it. But I would expect Musetti to come through this.
Well, Musetti wins this match. He gets Muir. Muir beat Echeverry in three tie breaks. So that's a brutal match. So we'll see. When would be the tough one? Korda, Kecmanovic, and then it's the final where you could have Djokovic, you could have Nakashima. It's not going to be easy for Musetti to get that final spot. There's going to be intrigue all around Athens over this.
Yeah, but what about if Djokovic goes and beats him in the final and then says, "Oh, you can have my spot in Rome anyway"? And then I'm sure Musetti would be thinking, "If you wish you'd have told me this last week, and I'd be a little bit fresher now."
I think Felix might fly to Athens if Musetti's in the final and just be supportive for whoever, be in the player box for whoever is.
Exactly.
Him.
Yeah,
just cheering him
on.
on.
After taking the week off, thinking he's pretty much locked in there, and if Musetti went and done him at the line, who knows what's going on in Djokovic's head? Unfortunately, we don't, and whether he knows himself could be another matter.
No, so we'll see. I mean, Stan right now, as of the second set getting going, is -103. It's a solid money line area if you want it, but maybe he runs away with it here in the second if Musetti's gas. So we'll see. But Tim, this has been a blast. Always Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Final thoughts on like a daily double for the people on the way out?
Yeah, it's going to go on the set spread. Jessica Pegula against Jasmine Paolini, -1.5 sets at -118. And over 2.5 sets in the Aryna Sabalenka Coco Gauff match at +135. I think the double plays +335.
All right, +335. We're going to go short match. Pegula wins, and we're going over in that Coco Sabalenka +335. That's your daily double for today. Tim, this has been fun. The women's season is over. We'll have women's tennis again before you know it. But we're rounding up the tennis season with the final events of the year. It's always fun talking tennis with you on Betting Weekly Tennis Live.
Yeah, pleasure, man. It's really enjoyable. Thanks.
Betting Weekly Tennis Live throughout the entire season, all part of the Bet Rivers Network. Download the app and make sure you subscribe to the social channels at Because We Win, the X account, the Instagram, and the YouTube. 1 o'clock Eastern time, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's a blast. It's always fun. We got expert analysis, tons of great content all across the Bet Rivers Network. So for Tim Dennis, I'm Mitch Michals. This was Betting Weekly Tennis Live. We'll see you next week. Enjoy the tennis and have fun. Talk to you soon.